like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Diorpop. Have you ever noticed how a story can be repeated so often that it slowly begins to sound like truth, despite never having any factual foundation in the first place? Repetition has a strange power. Over time, it dulls skepticism, blurs context, and convinces people that something must be real simply because it has been said enough times. Today, we are not here to recycle cheap gossip or entertain forced theories. We are here to unpack how a BTS album announcement, something that should have been celebrated for its artistry and meaning, was instead dragged into a storm of speculation that has completely lost its sense of proportion. This is not about taking sides. This is about facts. And if you are exhausted by watching genuine creative work be reduced to baseless rumors, then this conversation is for you. Let's talk with clear minds and honest hearts. At this point, the situation no longer feels like simple exaggeration. It feels like a joke that has gone too far, a joke repeated so many times that it has lost all substance, yet continues to be promoted as if it were the only possible truth. Once again, an album announcement that should have been straightforward has been twisted into irrational speculation, driven not by evidence, but by assumptions and the desire to believe in something that has never actually existed. The album in question is ARIRANG, BTS's latest release. This is a major project, one that has been planned for a long time, developed with a clear artistic vision, and handled by a large, professional and highly structured creative team. Yet despite the seriousness of this artistic process, there are still people who insist on reducing it to a dating theory, one that has never even been confirmed. At some point, it becomes impossible not to ask, when did common sense disappear? When did logic finally surrender to sensationalism? The facts themselves are remarkably simple. BTS revealed the album name. They showed the logo. Jungkook mentioned that he contributed ideas. That is all. Nothing more. He never said he designed the logo by himself. He never claimed to be hiding personal messages within it. He never suggested that the album concept was tied to romantic references or his private life. What he shared was that he contributed ideas, sketches, and general concepts, something that is entirely normal and even expected from an artist who is deeply involved in the creative process. And yet, somehow, for some people, that alone was enough to trigger full conspiracy mode. Suddenly, 3 circles in a graphic design stopped being visual elements. They became evidence. Evidence of what, exactly? No one can say with certainty, because none of it is rooted in fact, only in assumptions stacked on top of other assumptions. Do the circles represent tattoos? Do those tattoos have a specific meaning? Is that meaning connected to winter? The chain of speculation stretches endlessly, without a single solid confirmation. Each theory feeds into the next, creating an illusion of depth where none actually exists. Ironically, many Korean netizens themselves have started to push back, openly saying, "This has gone too far." They point out a basic reality that continues to be ignored. Jungkook submitted ideas, sketches, and references. The final design was processed, refined, and completed by HYBE's professional design team. An album of this scale is not created impulsively, nor is it used as a vehicle to sneak in hidden personal messages. The idea that a company as massive as HYBE would allow the official logo of a BTS album to be used as a private signaling device about an unconfirmed relationship is, quite frankly, absurd. It is not only illogical, it is deeply dismissive of the entire creative team behind the project. Hundreds of professionals contribute to releases of this magnitude. To reduce their work to a romantic code is to erase their effort entirely. And here is the most crucial point that continues to be ignored. The dating rumor itself has never been confirmed. There has been no official statement, no clear declaration, no concrete evidence. And yet, some people behave as though this relationship were an established historical fact, dedicating themselves to hunting for references in everything Jungkook does. That is not analysis. that is obsession. This phenomenon is not new. The pattern is always the same. The same accounts, the same narratives, the same methods. The smallest details are magnified, combined with old rumors, and repackaged as something sensational. When everything is treated as a clue, nothing actually holds meaning anymore. There is a very real sense of collective fatigue surrounding this. It is now 2026, and yet some people remain trapped in the same loop, repeating old rumors as if time itself has stood still. Meanwhile, BTS continues to work, evolve, and explore their artistry. Perhaps the most frustrating aspect of all is the complete loss of focus. ARIRANG is an album, a musical, cultural, and artistic project. And yet, instead of discussing the music, the cultural symbolism, or the meaning behind the title, some people insist on turning it into an imaginary romantic novel. It needs to be said clearly, not everything has a hidden meaning. Not everything is a sign. Not everything is connected to an idol's private life. Sometimes, a design is just a design, because it works visually, because it is balanced, and because it fits the concept. Period. This situation does not prove anything about Jungkook, Winter, or BTS. What it does reveal is how a rumor, despite never being confirmed, can continue to survive simply because some people refuse to let it go. And the more that rumor is stretched and forced, the more ridiculous it becomes. Unfortunately, it now seems that anything Jungkook does is automatically linked to one specific name, regardless of context. To be clear, this is not about personal attacks on anyone. The disappointment lies in the situation itself, not in any individual. It is genuinely disheartening to see Jungkook's work, his designs, his songs, his career, constantly reduced to dating speculation, as if none of it holds intrinsic value on its own. This is especially troubling when both agencies have stated that they will take legal action against false rumors, something that indirectly indicates how unfounded these claims are. And this is where misinformation becomes dangerous. A lie repeated often enough begins to sound like truth, while an artist's real work is buried beneath layers of unverified speculation. The contrast could not be clearer when looking at BTS's recent live broadcast. The atmosphere was warm, relaxed, and full of laughter, like a reunion among old friends. They joked about cameras and lighting, choosing to appear as they were, without pretense. "It's been such a long time since we did a live broadcast like this," they said, expressing a longing that had clearly been building for years. The conversation naturally turned to ARIRANG. They explained that ARIRANG is not just a traditional Korean folk song, but a symbol of longing, separation, hope, and the journey of life itself. Its meaning is not singular, each listener is free to interpret it in their own way. They shared stories about military service, about missing the stage and army, and about the personal growth they experienced during their time apart. ARIRANG consists of 14 tracks selected from hundreds of songs. It is an album that does not end when the music stops. It continues to unfold over time. One of the most touching moments came when they talked about their parents' reactions. "You've really grown up." The discussion then moved to their first world tour in more than 6 years, featuring a 360-degree stage with no distance between the artists and the audience. This is not merely a comeback. It is BTS returning with greater maturity, deeper emotion, and richer stories to tell. And here lies the greatest irony of all. At the very moment BTS is offering such an honest and meaningful body of work, there are still people who insist on filtering everything through the lens of an unconfirmed dating rumor. In the end, this is not about supporting or opposing anyone. It is about understanding that rumors are not facts, and that without official confirmation, everything else remains speculation. BTS has returned with ARIRANG, with music, stages, and stories that stand firmly on their own. That is where our focus should be. Because rumors will always fade, but meaningful art endures. Thank you for watching Diorpop.